So let's keep going with this train wreck. So now we have Carol being told by Jan Rog to lay low. But she doesn't want to lay low because, well, it's her movie. But she doesn't know where to go. She doesn't know what she's supposed to do next. Neither do the writers. The writers have no way of knowing how to get the scene moving. They can't think of any creative, interesting way of getting the story to progress. You want to know how I know? Because this was what they did. She looked at her comm, and suddenly images of Pegasus and Pancho's bar appear. What brilliant writing skills! What amazing narrative! What an amazing way to progress the story. Just randomly have Pancho's bar and Pegasus appear on the comm. Oh, by the way, did you know that her comm can now cast images of her memory on the comm? Well, where did you think those images? Where do you think those images were? Those were her memories. But the writers couldn't just have a random flashback. I don't know why. It's just as pathetic and stupid as this, as it just appearing on the comm. So instead of having her just randomly have a flashback, they had the comm play out a flashback or an image. How in the name of God, what kind of technology does the Cree have that their comm can have images from her memory put on display? Just randomly, mind you, at the right time, too. How pathetic can you possibly be? But you know what the best part was? You as an audience didn't care. Didn't care. Literally, anything could have happened. Like a flyer for Pancho's bar could have just randomly flown by, hit her in the face, and go, oh, Pancho's bar. And you as an audience would have gone, oh, hey, okay, now she's got to go to Pancho's bar. You're pathetic. You're so... So now, she knows... So now the story has a way to advance. Pancho's bar. Well, how does Carol get to Pancho's bar? Do they do some type of creative... Of course they don't. What are you talking about? They have her just show up at an internet cafe. Carol didn't even know what planet she was on, but somehow knew or found out that this planet has the internet. Half the planet at the time didn't even know the internet existed, but this chick from outer space, who just landed like 8 hours ago, knows the internet exists. But she finger tapped. Get the joke? Ha 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 ha. Just focus on how funny it was that she was finger tapping everything. So she types in Pegasus, and again, this shows how stupid the character is, that there's no way she would have known about the internet, because she types in Pegasus as if that's going to go, oh yeah, if you type in Pegasus, it'll show up the top secret base. That'll be like in the first... So then she types in Pancho's bar, and she gets a location. Great. Now what? She knows where Pancho's bar is, so do the writers have some type of creative, interesting... Of course they don't. And then, here comes the most pathetic plot device, Deus Ex Machina. I'm not 100% sure what it would be classified as. Personally, it's just a hammer to the back of the head as far as I'm concerned. These lazy-ass, incompetent writers have a map just because they have no other way of figuring out how to get her there, there's a map just sitting on the table right beside her. This is how ridiculous this scene was, because when I saw it, in my head, I'm going, this couldn't be a map, because it would be so brain dead stupid to just have it be a map. I swear to God, this is what I thought it was. When I saw her lifting it up and it folded over, I went, that's the weirdest Playboy magazine I've ever seen. Because it never occurred to me that these writers would be that pathetic and lazy that it would have just been a map. Mind you, obviously being a triple folded Playboy was just as stupid, but again, it's the only thing whatever. So now, the question is, how do we get Carol to Pancho's bar? Some guy on a motorcycle shows up, and the next scene is her driving away, or her riding the motorcycle. How did she know how to hotwire a motorcycle? She doesn't. But the writers don't know how to get her there. Does she know how to ride a motorcycle? No. But the writers don't care. Now, if they had at least had her wobbling for a couple of seconds, at least that would have made it go, okay, she's trying to learn. Screw that. She knows how to ride a motorcycle. She knows how to hotwire it. Does she even know about, gas? Because heaven forbid she runs out of fuel. But what the hell? She'll figure out how, whatever. So now, okay, so before she gets to Pancho's bar, we see Fury at the coroner's office. And this is how lazy and pathetic the writing is, because things happen because they need to happen, because that's the only way these incompetent writers can get the story continuing on. We meet Fury's boss, who just happens to end up being a Skrull. Now, maybe 10 to 12 hours from when they first landed to happened. So within 10 to 12 hours, the Skrull leader learned about S.H.I.E.L.D., one of the most secret organizations in the world, was able to figure out who was Fury's boss, and was able to impersonate him. I know, it's like thinking makes this movie it's like turning your brain off is a defense mechanism. It's not even to enjoy the movie, you have to shut your brain off, because otherwise the movie doesn't even work. Forget enjoying it. It doesn't even work. The most secret organization in the world, and this alien who's never been to C-53 finds out about it, is able to infiltrate it, and be able to impersonate Fury's boss. Put this Skrull on the Avengers. So now we get to Pancho's bar. And Fury's already there. How did Fury know she was going to be there. Now, oh, that's easy. Remember how there was that little, I forget what the box screen was, about disconnected or something? She typed in Poncho's bar and she typed in the word Pegasus. That was S.H.I.E.L.D.'s way of tracking her, really. The word Pegasus and Poncho's bar. She had typed in Catcher in the Rye, I would have got it. And even if they did, with your brainiac logic, they didn't know it was her typing that in. And there was no connection between... I already have to deal with the stupid of the movie. Having to deal with the stupid of the explanations that people have just is... So then, she wants Fury to prove he's not a Skrull because Skrulls can also gain short-term memory of the person they impersonate. So she starts rattling off questions. Now, in one way, it's a creative way of having a little backstory on Fury. The problem is, how does she know he's telling the truth? She doesn't. Fury could have said his dog's name was Skippy. How would she know whether he was lying or not? You don't care. The writers and you, the audience, are so stupid you didn't even catch that. That's how brain dead idiotic you guys are. That's how pathetic the writing is. That's how stupid you are. You didn't even catch that. Then Fury asks Carol, now you prove you're a Skrull. So she fires an energy beam. And then Fury, having the most intelligent question, goes, how am I supposed to know that that's proof? And what does Carol say? Skrulls can't do that. You know what Fury's next question should have been? How do I know that? Because he doesn't. But again, the writers actually thought that was a viable answer. And you as an audience went, yeah, that works. So they have this pseudo-bonding moment for a little bit. And then, now, if I hadn't seen all the MCU movies with Fury, this next scene I would have gone, okay. But we know Fury. Now, this also goes into the fact that the writers have no idea about continuity. Like, they didn't know about S.H.I.E.L.D., they didn't know about Fury. Carol tells Fury, take me to Pegasus. And Fury goes, okay. Now, for those of you who've actually seen the other MCU movies with Fury in it, how many of you saw that scene and went, bullshit? I did. There's no way Fury was just gonna take her there without questioning or reason or anything. Nope. Oh, so then they're in the waiting room. And hold on. So they're in the waiting room, and Fury uses Fury. Now this is key. Fury eventually goes and gets the tape to do the fingerprint. I go, you know what? Comic book logic, suspension of disbelief. That's not exactly stupid. It's reasonable, workable, I guess. So they are now wandering the underground base. There's nobody around. Apparently it's a really, really, really long lunch break because there's nobody around. But there's this stupid cat. I'm going to have to get to this. And they don't even question, gee, there's a cat. It's like, oh, look. And Fury acting like, how many of you actually saw Fury acting like, there's too many words, there's too many descriptive words I want to use, but I'm not sure which one I should be able to. How many people bought the way Fury acted, the way he acted with the cat? And went, that's not out of character, that's totally out of left field. Screw it. He acted like a chick. It's as if some woman wrote the scene not knowing anything about Fury and go, well, this is how I would react when I see a stray cat. So that's how she figured Fury was going to react. Sorry, I had to say it. So then they reach the records room, and Carol blasts open the door. And Fury goes, well, why didn't you do that in the waiting room? And Carol goes, I didn't want to steal your thunder. Now you're going, well, what's the big deal about that? They were in the waiting room for who knows how long. But it had to have been enough time for Fury to go, they're obviously not going to, see us. So I'm going to go, 1-2 hours at best. Now, according to Carol, she didn't blast open the door to the waiting room because she didn't want to steal Fury's thunder. So somehow she knew that when they're in the waiting room, she never, after like 5-10 minutes, went, you know what, obviously they're not going to see us. She didn't blast the door open because she knew somehow in 1 or 2 hours, Fury was going to take some tape and use the finger. That's what that line means. I didn't want to steal your thunder. So they wait, because again, the scene only lasted like, 20 seconds. So in your brain, because, you're idiots, you've actually thought that they were sitting in that waiting room for like 20 seconds. And even then, she somehow knew Fury was going to get the tape. It's not that it's a nitpick about plot. It is establishing and showing yet another example how incompetent the writing is. And it's yet another example of how you brain-dead idiots just go along with it. You don't even know it's stupid. And I have to point it all out for you, which is annoying. But you know what? I'm here for you. Think of me as a freaking 3-hour PSA on the stupidity of this movie and you as an audience. So now they figure they get the records. That's fine, no problem. So now, since there's no Game Boy available to distract you, they don't even care anymore. They literally, so she's got to call Yanrog. This is what they did to have her make an interstellar long-distance phone call. She opened up even know what that damn thing is called. The talkie part. There's the listening part, and then there's the talkie part. She opened up the base of the talkie part, took out the wires, and then attached them to the top of the phone. That's it. Go back if you want to and look at that scene. That's all it is. And that's how she's able to make an intergalactic long-distance phone call on a secure phone in a secret military base. But again, you don't know, you don't care, you weren't paying attention. This review is going to take goddamn forever.